right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 37. At some stage, we'll stop saying the number of the episode. I'm calling this one Let's Wrap because there was just a stupid amount of darts on over the weekend. And the only thing I could come up with, the only thing I had time to come up with because I was too busy watching all the darts and taking notes and doing all that sort of stuff was Let's Wrap because we're going to wrap up all the action. So you had DPA events 10, 11, 12 were on. The Czech Open, Czechoslovakian Open, Players Championship 14 and 15 were on, and Premier League 9-15. A bit of a last-ditch effort from Gerwen Price to try and get himself into the playoffs. Before we start, James Wade, from all reports, doing really well and looking like he should be back for Premier League night 16, the second last night in London. So, yeah, hopefully all well there and he is ready to rock and roll. We'll try and get through it relatively quick for you, but yeah, not too fast that you don't understand what I'm saying. I better make sure you can understand me. DPA, we'll do state to state today and have a look at every state. How their weekend went. Same format, so as every other month has gone by now. Friday knockout, Saturday, Sunday, round robin to knockout. New South Wales, on Friday, 26 players turned up to compete. And you had semi-finalists Jamie Brown, 6 over Kieran Holmes, 4. So I hadn't heard the name Kieran Holmes before, so that's a bit of a first for him, I think. Dave Hannell, 6 over Dave Marlin, 5. So 2 names we're quite used to seeing in New South Wales. And the final was Dave Hannell, 6 to Jamie Brown, 5. So some close matches there. Biggest win out of semi-finals and finals was a 6-4, so that's quite impressive. The final was high quality too, 83 average to Dave Hannell and 80 to Jamie Brown. So Dave Hannell missed 9 match darts in the last leg decider and gave Jamie Brown every chance, who I think missed a couple of tops to take it, but couldn't quite get it done. So yeah, Dave Hannell took that one out. Saturday, 33 players turned up. Semi-finals was Dave Marlin, 5 over Darren Carson, 0. So Darren Carson, I think, was the big dude with the tattoos, and he had the weird elbow action where he had it out to the side and would bring it back in. Pretty sure that's him. He was a feature on weekend 1, events 1, 2 and 3. So he made a semi-final but got done 5-0 against Dave Marlin. Daniel Pearson, 5 over Dave Hannell, 1. So a couple of drubbings there after quite a close contest on this Friday. But Dave Marlin took the day 6-4 over Daniel Pearson. A couple of 12 dart legs between the semi-finals and the final for Dave Marlin. So fantastic darts there. And yeah, looks pretty good. Sunday, 31 players turned up. Dave Marlin did the double with a 6-5 win over Dave Hannell. So yeah, plenty of Daves getting around, and Dave Hannell and Dave Marlin quite regularly up there with the championship on the line. Darren Carson also made another semi, so good weekend for him, and Jamie Brown was the other semi-finalist. So in New South Wales, a great weekend for Dave Marlin, Dave Hannell. Darren Carson had a good weekend, and so did Jamie Brown. The standard in New South Wales just continues to climb month in, month out, and it is fantastic to see. No Mitchell Clegg, which is a bit of a disappointment, because I definitely think he is one of those guys that helps bring that standard right up. Victoria had 10 players on the Friday. Semi-finalists, 10, so that's 3 up from Morwell last month, so still very disappointing, but it is what it is. Semi-finalists, Mal Cumming, Ash Britt, Brandon Weaning and Stewie Coburn, so some typical names that we see in Victoria. Brandon Weaning, 6-2 win over Mal Cumming in the final, a final that we see so often down there. Those two are just dominant forces. Brandon Weaning and Stuart Coburn both had averages over 90. Brandon Weaning had one at 95, so as much as the numbers aren't there, the standard is phenomenal down in Victoria. Once you get to that back end of the knockouts, that is really standing up. Saturday, had 20 players with 16 making the knockout stages. So there's definitely some work to be done there for a lot of the a lot of the guys. So there's only four people missing out on making it through to a knockout stage. So there's just no desire to push yourself if you've basically got to not lose by too much in the round robins and you're in. So a strange concept. I think if you've got that many players, then it's final 8. It's not final 16. But hey, I don't run dart tournaments. I just sit behind a microphone and talk shit. But anyway, so the semi-finalists were Brandon Weaning, Mal Cumming, so the two always that are always there, Brady Clinch and Tommy Hyland. Weaning took the final 6-3 over Mal Cumming again, so that's back-to-back for Brandon Weaning. So he's probably won 6 or 7 events now. Sunday had 21 players. He did not make the semi-finals on the Sunday, Brandon Weaning. He had a loss to Sam Ballinger in, I think, the quarterfinals. So his semi-finalists were Sam Ballinger, Mal Cumming, Kurt Horvatek, and Stewie Coburn. Mal Cumming had a 6-1 win over Stewie Coburn in the final. Sam Ballinger averaged 89 in that 5-3 win over Brandon Weaning. So the standard, as I said, in Victoria, it's well and truly there. The numbers aren't, but the standard is. It was pretty what you expect to see names-wise winners. So Weaning, and then Mal Cumming winning one. So pretty stock standard stuff. Coburn doing pretty well. Clinch doing well on one day. Definitely dropped off a little bit, Brody Clinch, but he keeps running into Weaning and Cumming quite regularly. I did expect more from Sammy Ballinger after taking out the Easter Classic down in Geelong. I thought he's going to really tear it apart. I don't think he competed on the Friday. Made maybe the quarterfinals on the Saturday, but I was expecting at least one day win, we'll call it, for Sam Ballinger, but still did pretty well. Semi-final and a quarterfinal is a good effort. South Australia, Friday, they had 11 players, Saturday 12 and Sunday 10. So terrible numbers. You're going to have places like ACT. They definitely would get more than that and would be screaming for an event themselves. Northern Territory, they would have the numbers, I'm sure. Would the quality be there? 100% it would be. Tasmania, the same. So all those states in Australia that don't have, you could even host one up in northern Queensland, probably, and even regional Victoria and regional New South Wales, and probably get those sort of numbers. Probably not regional Victoria, but regional New South Wales, like Newcastle or somewhere like that. You're probably going to get those numbers. Dubbo's a big darting community, so probably get those sort of numbers in Dubbo, and a lot of people travelling to Dubbo for that. So very disappointing that their numbers that low. We'll have a bit of a wrap up at the end of the show of that and what I think we need to be doing. And there's nothing to report back too much in the performance side of things. Danny Porter won all 3. He lost one match for the whole weekend, and that was a round robin event. So, yeah, not much happening all there. The closest final was 6 legs to 3, so hardly even challenged in the finals either. WA, on the Friday, just 14 players, so very disappointing there as well. But what you lack there in numbers, WA just produces in the quality. Justin Miles, David Platt, Brenton Lloyd, and Joe Comito made the semis. So names we are seeing, but you're also seeing different names all the time because of the quality that is over in WA. But those names are pretty regular, but goodly regular, we'll call it. Goodly regular. Platt versus Comito was a high-quality semi-final. That was 90-87. The final, though, between Justin Miles and David Platt, 6-1 win to Justin Jizzy Miles, with 100 average to David Platt's 90. So that's next level good across 7 legs. If you have a look at any players' championship events, you're probably getting maybe 10 to 15% of players each round averaging 100, if that. So averaging 100 is a phenomenal effort, and yeah, well done to Justin Miles, and I can't wait to see him. I guarantee you he's going to make the World Series events, and he will be one of the people competing on the big stage against some of the big players. No stress about that. He will get there, and I can't wait to watch him do it. Saturday, 21 players. Sorry, in that final, there was nothing over 16 darts. Nothing over 16 darts. No legs. So the one that Plat 1 was still a 16 data, and I think he threw first in that. So Justin Miles was on like 81, and that was only after 15 darts himself. So high quality stuff. WA 21 players, bloody high quality all day. If you go through the knockout stages, the averages at every other one, there's quite a few 50s in there in that last 16, and 50s and 60s. 60s quite good. I can only just average 60, but not in WA. You go straight to WA and it's 75 plus from that bottom top 16 match right through to the final. It's all there. It's all high. It's all fantastic. David Burke, Howard Jones, Tim Pusey, and Kohar Kakiri made the semis. So no double ups from the Friday night's semi-finalists. And Howard Jones got up 6-3. So another nice win there for him. On the Sunday, you had the 23 players. Justin Miles got his second win of the weekend with a 6-2 win over Joe Comito in the final. And Gary Stevens and Dave Hall both made semi-finals. The stand in WA is crazy high at the moment. They're the last ones to start, so we don't start seeing their names and numbers roll through until everyone else is a little bit through. And then it's just like, whew, they don't get to go first, so they don't get to raise the bar. They get to come and just step all over the bar, not even have to jump to try and beat it at the moment. Queensland on the Friday. Just 16 people turned up, so pretty disappointing there. There's a few reasons for that. The main reason probably being that there is a lot of flooding around Queensland at the moment, which is unfortunate. So we are seeing a lot of people struggling to get down, get to it, prioritise a game of darts when there is a lot of other stuff going on. So who would have thought darts would be affected by the weather? That's normally reserved for cricket. But last month's whole event was cancelled. You had a lot of players not able to turn up for this event. So very, very unfortunate there for Queensland. Let's fiddle with that a little bit. That's a bit better. On the Saturday, so Friday, 16 turned up, and Robbie King won it basically pretty much unchallenged. No one really got close to him. James Bailey, Adam Bainbridge, and Bill Aiken made the other semi-finals. I'm a big fan of Bill Aiken. I love the way he goes about his darts. Saturday, 21 players turned up. You still got that same issue of 21 players, 16 making the knockouts. So if I had it gone, I'm a high chance of making the knockouts, and I'm terrible at darts. But it's strange, isn't it? Robbie King, he looked the goods again, but got done in a last leg decider, which is very, very strange. Not strange, but a bit of an upset there because it was a gentleman by the name of Peter Wilmot, who I'd never heard of, never seen before. Robbie King was on 87 after 9 darts, so a phenomenal leg, and then went on a missed 9 match darts, and Wilmot got through and had the win. So, yeah, another bit of a fall at the end there for Robbie King, but he won't be too stressed about that. Dwayne Turner also made the semi-finals. Sunday, just the 19 players turned up for Queensland. Once again, 16 made the knockouts, so only 3 people are missing out. Robbie King just smashed his way to victory. Untouchable all day, basically. He dropped just 6 legs all day. That's with probably 5 or 6 round-robin matches and 4 or 5 knockout matches. So you got the last 16, last 8, last 4, and then the final. So that's 4 matches. So probably 10 matches, and he's dropped just the 6 legs the whole way through. So sensational stuff. We have one weekend left of the DPA, 3 events. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting to see if people turn up a bit more. There's a few drop-off in numbers. We're going to come back and talk about that at the end, though. So we'll just leave it there, and we'll come back when we wrap up all the issues from all the darts. Let's go back to Wednesday, Thursday last week. Players' Championship 14 and 15. Michael Smith, he went off, ran right. There was no MVG, Michael Van Gerwen, that is. No Gerwen Price, no Johnny Clayton, no Peter Wright. Gary Anderson didn't play. James Wade obviously was unwell, so he didn't play. And Joe Cullen. So there's a lot of players not playing. He was the highest ranked player by a considerable margin. I think the next highest ranked on the order of merit is Jose de Souza. So there's not as many people playing. But Bully Boy still had to do the job, and he did do the job. He threw sensational both days, won both. So, well done to Bully Boy. The final against Callan Ridge was an 8-3 win to Michael Smith. Callan Ridge averaged 104. Bully Boy averaged 109. 109. And it was over in 15 minutes. Only one final has been that quality, and that was Damon Hedder versus Gary Anderson back at Players Championship 7, I think it was, 5 or 7. So, phenomenal stuff. Damon Hedder will be absolutely spewing with his weekend in a way that he probably could have done more, which sounds weird to say, because he threw his first 9 data on the Wednesday. First 9 data in the PDC. I'm not sure if he has one previously at all, but they're definitely his first PDC 9 dart leg, and had a semi-final loss to Michael Smith. So if he had got over the line there, he probably takes it out against John O'Shea on that day. And then on the Thursday, sorry guys, he averaged 115, set a personal best record for him of 115.6, I think it was, against Jim Williams in a 6-1 win. That included missing double 12 for a 9 data, so he's almost hit 2 9 datas in the weekend, and he set his highest record average, his first 9 data, as I said, missed double and made the quarterfinal that day. So he'll be disappointed that he didn't win at least one day, because that's phenomenal stuff, that is. Callan Ridge put together an amazing day on the Thursday. Round 1, he averaged maybe 90, 91, and then from there he went on to average over 100 in every match that he played. And some of it was, as I said, the final 104, there was 106 in there somewhere. He looked like the kid that tore the worlds to shreds and didn't drop a set before running into the world champion in the last 32. That's what he looked like, and it was good to see. And yeah, hopefully he continues that trajectory, because I did expect it from him earlier in the year. I shouldn't expect things from people, but I did expect him to go pretty far this year, but it just hasn't materialised as of yet. Gordon Matters, old GG from north side of Brisbane, he had a 6-4 win over Jermaine Watamita on the Wednesday, and then lost to Ross Smith, who is a gun darts player and is looking at making the top 32 very shortly. He lost to him 6-2 in the second round. 6-4, I think it was. Had a 6-2 loss to Gavin Carlin on the Thursday in the first round. Simon Whitlock beat Scott Waite 6-4 on the Wednesday, then lost to Richie Burnett with an average of 90, so getting up there, Simon Whitlock. He does throw a lot of low 80s at the moment. Hopefully he can turn that around and start getting himself right up there. And then showed that the very next day he had a first round loss, although 6-3 to John O'Shea, who had a good weekend, but averaged 97, so that's pretty impressive stuff. Luke Humphreys took out the Czech Darts Open European Tour Event 6, I think it may have been. An 8-5 win over Rob Cross in the final, so good to see those two continuing some pretty good form on the Euro Tour and getting themselves into good form before the match play. He can be very dangerous, Luke Humphreys. He's so up and down, though. So some days he looks $1 million and looks like no one can challenge him. He takes care of Michael Van Gerwen easy when he's in that mood. Didn't look challenged by Rob Cross in the final. Always looked like he had that one in the bag. But he's just got such a smooth throw. So when it is on, it is on. Vincent van der Voort made a semi-final, which is good to see. Jose de Souza also made a semi-final. So a few more players finding form at the right time. Don't know if Van der Voort will make the World Match Play. Jose de Souza will be there, no doubt about that. So yeah, hometown boy Adam Gavlas, I think I'm pronouncing that relatively correctly. We'll just call him Adam Gawlas. He KO'd Damon Hedder and Ryan Searle as the hometown hero. So good stuff by him. The Euro Tour is very interesting at the moment. If Michael Van Gerwen doesn't win it, God knows who's going to win it, because Adam Gavlas did look likely at one stage. Jose de Souza or Vincent van der Voort both looked like they could win it. Yeah, so you expect Damon Hedder to perform better than he has, but hasn't as of yet. So yeah, it's an interesting concept that Michael Van Gerwen is the big dog on the European Tour at the moment, but just who's next? We don't know, and that's what's beautiful about darts. There was a big drama between Gerwen Price and Adrian Lewis. A quick rundown of that. It's pretty simple. It was a 6-3 win to Adrian Lewis. It was 3-3, looking pretty tight and tense. And after the match, Gerwen Price looked already shitty. So some people said it was because Adrian Lewis then came up and gave him a cuddle, and he didn't like that. But he was already shitty because he wasn't even looking at Adrian Lewis. Normally, the first thing you do once you've lost is you shake your hand of the opponent, then you go and shake the chalkers and the caller. And then you go back and then you engage with the crowd. He was already engaged with the crowd. He's back to Adrian Lewis, hoping that Adrian Lewis would not say too much and get off the stage before he could then go and shake hands. So he was already shitty, so it was nothing to do with the cuddle. He did call him a fat twat, I think is what I've heard and read. So he was pretty annoyed, Gerwen Price. And it was pretty simple. If you watch the video, you can just see how slow. Not Adrian Lewis isn't doing it ridiculously slow, but semi-slow, getting his darts out the board. If you watch Gerwen Price play, as other people are grabbing their darts off the board, he's set up. So he's just holding back to wait for them to get out of the way. Then he's releasing. He is one of the quickest at letting those darts go once you walk past. So he's not allowing you to get back. As soon as you're out the way, those darts are coming out of the hand. There's a video, I can't remember which match it is. I'll do some hunting and try and find it for you, and we'll talk about it again at some stage. It looks like he almost takes off Michael van Gerwen's eyebrows. He does it that close. So I think it was just that. He was just getting frustrated. Adrian Lewis taking too long. When you're getting yourself set to throw, and then you've either got to hold it like that while they take too long, or you've got to step back. As much as you should be relaxed and easy at the hockey, setting yourself up is still an effort. Like holding your arm up for a while can take that energy and effort out of you and make you sore. So you don't want that. So you don't want to be standing there like this, waiting. Imagine doing it if Mensa was throwing, if you set yourself up and Mensa's doing his little waddle back to the board, grabbing his darts and then going. So it's stuff with the rhythm of Gerwen Price, and a lot of players are quick to say you're doing that on purpose. So I can understand why he was angry. Adrian Lewis probably maybe playing a bit of games there, but who knows? Not for me to say. But that's what that was. It was just purely Gerwen Price getting caught out of rhythm, caught out of throw, and letting it get to him. Onto the Premier League. Gerwen Price got a very important night win and pushed himself right back up into contention. He had a last leg final win over Michael van Gerwen, who looked the goods the whole time. Looked like he was going to take out the match. Had a 4-point higher average than Gerwen. But Gerwen just timed his run, timed it all well, and got the win. So, well done to Gerwen Price to keep himself in contention. He averaged 100, which was 10 points higher than Joe Cullen in the semi-final. 6-3 win there. 4-180, 60% on his checkouts. And a 6-4 win over Gary Anderson, 100 average again. Gary's starting to look pretty good, though, as much as he lost again in the first up. He's definitely starting to look almost back to, not his best, but he's starting to look pretty good, and his averages creeping up and up and up. The first few weeks, I think it was probably the first 10 weeks, he really just didn't look comfortable. He had 1 week where he went absolutely ballistic, and who knows where that came from, because he produced it at the Players' Championships on the weekend as well, averaging stupidly high averages all weekend. But other than that 1 week, he's really struggled. But the last probably 3 weeks, he's starting to get that accuracy back and look pretty good. He had a win over Peter Wright, and now a good tussle with Gerwen Price. Michael Smith had a 6-5 win over Johnny Clayton. Ripping contest, this one. They always are with Johnny Clayton's involved. He came from 4-1 down to win, Bully Boy, so showing a bit of mental toughness there, which often gets questioned for, which is a load of baloney. It just hasn't worked out for him, simple as that. There is one thing we'll talk about later that may have some contributing factor. It's not to do with mental toughness, but to do with just his performance in general that may be coming in and maybe holding him back. Johnny Clayton got out to 3-1, I think it was. Of those 3 legs, he had 3 ton-plus finishes, so he was looking absolutely sensational. So how Bully Boy won that one, I don't know, but he did. It was a great contest. Right, over to Michael van Gerwen gave Peter Wright an absolute touch-up. He won that 6-1, 103 average, which is pretty good, to Peter Wright's 90. So a bit out of form at the moment, Peter Wright, but he'll get there. He then went 4-1 down to Michael Smith and then won it in the last leg decider. So I think that's a couple of weeks in a row he's potentially beaten Michael Smith in a last leg decider. So, Bully Boy. No, it's a strange night for Bully Boy. So he's gone 4-1 down and won, and then he's gone 4-1 up and lost. We won't talk about my fantasy because James Wade didn't play and I didn't actually change my side. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring up the Premier League ladder. Excuse me, your head sitting behind you there. We'll get rid of the logo and the text for now. Johnny Clayton up top on 34 points. He is guaranteed a spot. Michael Van Gerwen, he's now guaranteed a spot. There's only 2 nights left, so Gerwen Price cannot get ahead of Michael Van Gerwen, and neither can anyone else. So he's guaranteed a spot. James Wade on 25 points. It would take a miracle for him to be out, and I actually don't think it is physically possible. Gerwen Price would need to go back-to-back, which is going to drop Peter Wright out. James Wade can't drop out from there. So, yeah, no, I don't think he can go out. I think he's qualified because Peter Wright would have to go up higher to knock him out. Unless Peter Wright made 2 finals and Gerwen Price won both, then he potentially would be out. If Gerwen Price won both and Peter Wright made the final both, but I don't know what side of the draw they're on. This week they are on separate sides, so that would be the miracle that Peter Wright made 2 finals and Gerwen Price won both nights remaining. That would push James Wade out, or it could be Joe Cullen instead of Gerwen Price. That's not going to happen. 4th place, Peter Wright on 20 points. He's the only one that's really at risk here, but I don't see it happening. Gerwen Price, he's on 18 points. He's the only real one. Joe Cullen potentially, but I don't see it happening. Joe Cullen's on 17 points. Michael Smith on 13 would take an absolute miracle. And Gary Anderson cannot make it. So the match is coming up this week. So Gerwen Price needs to win to get himself in. If he loses this week, there is still one more week, but he would have to make sure Peter Wright doesn't get... he can afford Peter Wright to win 1 and then not anything. But Johnny Clayton here comes up against Gerwen Price straight up. So that is terribly unfortunate for him, but it is what it is. That's how the world works. Michael Smith versus Michael Van Gerwen up next. They play the winner of Johnny versus Gerwen. I think Michael Van Gerwen wins that one. James Wade versus Peter Wright. I think Peter Wright will win and put beyond doubt what's going to happen in the Premier League finals. In the spot for the Premier League finals. And the winner of that one plays the winner of Joe Cullen versus Gary Anderson. So your final semi-finalists would be Gary Anderson versus Peter Wright. I think Peter Wright wins that. Versus Michael Van Gerwen and Johnny Clayton. I think Johnny Clayton beats Gerwen Price, unfortunately, for Gerwen Price. And then MVG Peter Wright final, I think. And I think Peter Wright wins and, sews up that spot, making it impossible for anyone to chase down anyone. If that happens, then yes, it is all over. Peter Wright will be safe. James Wade, if Gerwen Price and Joe Cullen don't win, is safe. So, yeah, that just about sews up. It'll just be about where they finish. And I don't think there'll be too much change from there either. All right, so let's put my text, my logo back, get rid of the ladder. All right, so I'll look back at the Players' Championship events we'll talk about first with Michael Smith. And so from previous, it would have been night 15, he had complaints of a sore foot. And then he's gone through and won both Players' Championship events and had a good Premier League night, almost making a final. Now, Michael Smith is a perennial walker on the last dart. So for anyone that can see the footage, so he's throwing his first dart, he's throwing his second dart, and he's hurling the third dart. And as he's throwing a third dart, his momentum is taking him forward, walking towards the board, and then going to get those darts. I have no idea how that creeps into your game. Everyone always tells you the one thing you can teach in darts, there's not much you can teach. It's all about the individual, and you've got to work with what the individual can do. You don't want too much shoulder movement and upper arm movement. You don't want too much of that. A lot of it's got to come from elbow down. But other than that, grip, there's not much to it. If you've got less fingers, then we'll do a better podcast episode about this. Less fingers means less needs to happen together and your timing's not as important. More fingers means you've got a better grip of the dart. You can set it better, but those fingers need to come off all at the same time every time. So your timing then again needs to be better. So less timing with 2 fingers, although your stability is not as good. More fingers, you've got better stability, but your timing needs to be better. That's about all there is to teaching grip, but there's no real way to teach the grip. what darts you use, it's all to the individual. Your stance, all to the individual. You're not going to stand left foot forward when you're a right-handed thrower, are you? But that's a simple thing, but the rest of it's pretty up to the individual. But the one thing you can coach is to be still. And so how that's crept into his game, I have no idea. And it definitely, you watch the end of the UK Open against Danny Noppert when he's trying to get himself over the line, it is a big struggle for him to keep still. So because of that foot injury, he's not moving as much. He's not walking on that last dart, and he's played phenomenal darts. He's averaged ridiculously high numbers at the Players' Championship events. He's almost made a final of the Premier League night. Was able to defy Johnny Clayton, finishing ton plus every time he stepped up to the oche. Ridiculous stuff. So, yeah, I don't know how it happens. I don't know how it gets into your game, but maybe from nonchalant training. Sometimes, very rarely do I do it, but sometimes if I'm doing some poxy training and not really throwing, you might just throw away that last dart. As you see him do when they're all warming up on the stage, they'll throw, and basically start walking on that last one to go and get it because they just want the warm-up to be over. That's the only time I've ever done it. So I don't know how it gets into your game, but there is a simple way to coach it out, which I have picked up on from other people. If you have the same darts, it's good. If not, make sure you're looking or you keep that other dart separate, but hold a fourth dart. Throw dart 1, throw dart 2, throw dart 3, and still go to grab that last dart like you were going to throw again, but don't. And then all that does is make sure that on your third dart, you are throwing the dart how you're supposed to, ready to come back like darts 1 and 2 to grab that third dart. That's going to help. That's going to hopefully quickly quash that because, as you saw, walking on the last dart, as much as some people think it's not a big issue, it doesn't really matter too much. Michael Smith's performance when he had a bung foot was fantastically better than what it was without the bung foot. So don't walk on the last dart. Right. The other thing was we spoke about the Gerwen Price, Adrian Lewis incident, and there was a couple of things I saw about online about that level of respect between darts players, which we all know is there. It's a rhythm thing too. People don't want to be thrown out of their rhythm. Adrian Lewis has a bit of a reputation, so does Gerwen Price. So there's always going to be fireworks. I'm sure they'll get over it. So no big issue there. The DPA, the numbers. Now, I know a lot of Queenslanders, as I said off the top, there's a lot of flooding up here. It sucks. There's a lot of people struggling. There's a lot of roads that you can't get through. I know the main Bruce Highway, which is the A1, which is the loop of the road around Australia that you can take to get all the way around Australia. It's closed at Gympie. You cannot get through. So I think there was quite a few players getting down. Fantastic. Find it on Facebook. There's a video of two guys on the way down. He's taking a video of his mate who's set up coming down for the DPA event with his portable dartboard stand, just like I have in the background there, playing darts on the side of the road. Absolutely fantastic. It's brilliant stuff. That's what you do in a traffic jam. You get the dartboard out and you have a throw. Yes, there was a lot of other people with other commitments. So, yeah, we've had it written down somewhere. So a list of some of the people missing from the Queensland. Like, as I said, it's just disappointing, the numbers everywhere. But Queensland have definitely got missing Ray and Kai and Connor Smith. Dave Littleboy wasn't there. Jeremy Fagg wasn't there. Jamie Rundle wasn't there. They're some of your gun players. Those guys, Ray, Jeremy, and Jamie all make semi-finals. Kai will be right up there in line for a semi-final. Dave Littleboy's up there every time. And there's a lot of others. So Queensland normally get that 50 mark for the numbers of competitors. They had nowhere near that. And every other state the same as well. Now, we're working towards the World Series events, which is what we want. We're all hoping that that's going to... Not hoping, we're waiting for that because it's going to be fantastic. You're going to see some gun Australian players make their way onto that stage. But what form are they going to be in? Then no one is competing against the best players in Australia. The DPA and people within Darts Australia as well need to step up, and we need to have more high quality events like what the World Series is. You need to have, there is an Australian Championships run by DA, but the DPA need to do some stuff too. So we need to have a match play. It doesn't have to be named the match play, but like the match play, there needs to be that. There needs to be like a Grand Slam. So anyone that makes the Oceanic final and is a runner-up, and the Pro Tour event final, runner-up, the World Series events, or if you made some other ones, the Darts Australia, the Australian Championships, the winner and runner-up of that, just like the Grand Slam does, all those players, and then you fill it up with order of merit people. We need to have more bigger tournaments set up by the DPA. We can't be just sitting there as a feeder system to the PDC for the World Series, which are actually only supplying 4 free players, I think. So you've got, no, it must be 4. So there's the 3 stars coming over from England, 1 New Zealand, and then 4 Australian qualifiers. So we're only supplying 4 players per event for that and sending 2 over to the Worlds. We need to be better than that as an organisation. If the PDC aren't going to put the money towards some more events, then let's do it ourselves. We'll find a way. It's not going to be that hard to sponsor it and advertise it. That's where a lot is falling down within what's happening. So to have locations at Australia's top level of darts having 10, 11 and 14 players turn up is insane. Go into any English pub on a Friday night, a Monday night, Wednesday night, and there is more than that competing at every level. I would love to go and watch the Riley's qualifiers for the people that want to compete at the UK Open. It would be absolutely huge, the amount of people in there. And we've spoken about it before. We'll touch on it again now. It's got to be advertised more. Advertise more interest, more competitors, more money, more prize money, more players, more competitiveness, more interest from someone to cover it. Fox Sports, SBS, ABC. Once they come in and put more money in, there's more money, there's more excitement, there's more advertising, there's more players, there's more prize money. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on, and it's pretty straightforward. So we've got to get back to the basics of advertising this tournament. I would have had no idea that Leon Davis was a gun darts player if I hadn't have started doing a podcast myself, because I just love darts. I had no idea he would have been in it, and I stumbled across the Easter Classic, saw his name, followed up myself to find out from other people that would have an idea that would have competed there or been there, and had to dig myself. There's nothing to sit there. I have never seen anyone come up and say things like, Leon Davis is a gun darts player, you should watch him. It's not rocket science. Facebook is there, Instagram is there, they're all there. That's where everyone is. Just advertise. Less darts this weekend, so we'll be able to bring a lot more new stuff to you. I've got a new set of darts. I'll update you on how they're going. Bought a new dartboard, which I absolutely love to bits. It's a shot dartboard. I love the look of it. I've hardly used it at the moment because I don't want to destroy it. I'm going to save it for my online matches. It looks amazing. We'll have a bit more of a deeper talk about that. The Premier League finals, only 2 more nights left before finals, which means the World Cup is coming up, which means that the World Series is coming up. As I said, I can't wait to watch our Aussie boys on there. I think they start in early June. They're going over to the US, which is going to be exciting. So it's at the 17th today, so it's only a few weeks away. It must be straight after the Premier League. Then, yeah, you've got the World Cup. Match play is not far off. After they go to the US, they're coming to Australia. Euro Tour this weekend. It's the German Darts Grand Prix, it's called. It's not like the PDC Grand Prix. I don't think it's a double-in, double-out tournament. It's just a name for it. It's European Tour Event 8. So exciting stuff. Cannot wait. Hopefully Damon has a deep run there. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, loyal listeners, enjoy the darts over the weekend. Have some fun. Hopefully they're coming out all right, and we'll chat to you next week.